Let's try it from this spot and see what we can come up with. Welcome to my first YouTube video. My name is Mike Cantwell. Glad to have you along. Like many of you, during COVID, we got locked in and I started watching endless YouTube videos. Mostly about landscape photography, but some in photography in general, and also about reef tanks and some about writing. And over time I thought, well, maybe I could create a channel. And like somebody said on one of the videos I was watching, what's the point? It's been done 1,000,000 times over. And he was right. What's the point? In watching a lot of the landscape videos, which the vast majority of them are excellent. They're such a professional quality. It's amazing what you can find on YouTube. So I'm not here to compete on that level of sticking drones in the sky and going to all these exotic locations. I can't, at least not at this point, I can't compete with that. So again, what's the point? Well, in watching a lot of the videos, what will happen is they'll take you on location, they'll show you a lot of B-roll, going up the mountain, going through the gate, doing the latch, and undoing the latch, and walking up the path, walking down the path, walking up the mountains, huffing and puffing. And they'll tell you, for the most part, the settings in their camera, and click. And then a few seconds later, you probably see the finished product, or maybe at the end of the video. But the vast majority of them, what they don't show you is from the time they click to the time they show you that end result. And I can't say that that's as important, but it's certainly important, because yes, there are a few photographers that will take that raw file off that card and do very little manipulation. Some of which is because they're excellent photographers, some of which is because they have the equipment that'll get them the dynamic range and the lenses that'll allow them to have a sharp image from front to back, at least as much as possible. So I'm not here to say that gear is everything, but gear is something. Gear has something to do with it. So I'm also not here to tell you that if you're a beginner photographer and you don't have the best equipment, you can't take good images, because you can. There's no question about it that you can. Sometimes you have a great eye, you're good at composition right off, and you can take a great image. You want to stick it in the on your computer, maybe convert it to black and white. Well, even that, there's a method on learning how to do that. So I think one of the things I'd like to do with this channel, getting back to what's the point, is to show you more, at least how I do it when it comes off that card, that raw file. How do you get from there to the end result? Do you blend a couple images? Do you focus stack? Do you make panoramas? Do you dodge and burn and use just one image? There's a lot of different ways of doing it. And most of these photographers, if not all of them, will use all those methods. That's what they don't really show you. Some do in one video here and there. You can go on YouTube and find how to focus stack, or maybe even how to blend images. Some of these men and women, they'll sell you courses and show you how to do it, which is great. There's nothing wrong with that. They're professionals. They deserve to make a living, and no one should object to them doing it. I certainly don't. One of the guys that I like to follow, that I have bought a couple classes from, and the reason why I bought from him, is a fellow by the name of Joel Grimes. And he's not paying me to say this. He doesn't know me at all. But what I like about him is that he claims to be a artist slash photographer. And sometimes there's a debate as to whether photography is an art form or not. Well, at least in my opinion, I think absolutely it is. And it goes back to how you can create images. You know, there's some debate of, well, do you take a picture or do you create an image? 99% of people are going to create an image. That's really the difference between just taking that picture and then really bringing out what you really want to show in that image, highlighting what it is you want to show. And there's ways of manipulating that photo to have you go down that leading line or get the tip of that mountain the way you want it, or whatever the case may be. There's ways of doing it in Lightroom or Photoshop. Me, I use Photoshop. So I'm going to be showing you a lot of stuff in Adobe Camera Raw, some in Photoshop, but a lot of the work I do is in Adobe Camera Raw, which is pretty similar to Lightroom. So if you're a Lightroom user, you can come along as well. So anyway, that's the point. I think that's what I want to get to with this channel. I'll occasionally go and show you some B-roll when I go on location. I live near a beach, so I tend to shoot a lot of seascapes. But even there's things you can learn about seascapes. For example, I shoot a lot of 20mm format. Well, when that moon or that sun comes up over the horizon at 20mm, it looks like a little pea on the image. There's not much there. So what you can do is stay with your 20mm and then shoot the moon at the horizon at 200mm, 300mm, whatever it is, and then put it back into your 20mm image. Is that cheating? I don't think it is. It's creating an image. As long as you're honest about what you're doing, you're creating an image. You're an artist slash photographer. And a lot of people do that. They just don't always want to admit to it. Well, I admit to it. There's a lot of times I just take that raw image, that one single image, and do very little manipulation, and bang, there it is. So it really depends on the situation. One of the ones I'll show you, I think down the road, will be a mountain in the Grand Tetons. And when I went there in the summer of 2021, there was a lot of haze because of the fires from California. And so it was really hard to get good images. You had to go early in the morning, and hopefully the haze wouldn't be, and the smoke wouldn't be there so bad early in the morning, or maybe after a rain shower and it's cleared it all out. But what I did was I turned them into high contrast black and whites, and that kind of got rid of a lot of it to some extent, so you can hide it. And so I'll show you how I did that as well. But anyway, I think that down the road, those are the kind of videos I'm going to create, more so than on location. But after I've taken the image, what did I do to get from that card to the print? So if you're interested in something like that, please, as they say, like and subscribe, and look for my other videos. Maybe I think you have to hit a bell or something. But if you're so inclined, please do that, and I'll see you in future videos. And till then, see you.